everyone. Welcome to FMATalk's Martial Chronicles. I'm your host, Datu Tim, with my phenomenal partner, Guro Tye.
Hey there. Sir. Got my glasses straight here.
Okay, how are you feeling today?
Pretty good.
Good.
Snuck in a good workout too.
Oh, very good. So, it's going to be a little tight for me these days on Mondays because I have classes and I've just extended them. But it is. I'm looking forward to a lot of good stuff. Hey, Mr. Harris, how you doing tonight? Mm-hmm. All right. I hope everything's going good with you. Looking forward to seeing you in class soon. So, everybody, what is FMATalk and the Martial Chronicles? So, first of all, FMATalk was a discussion forum. First, we start with Martial Talk. A gentleman, a friend of mine, Bob Hubbard, created Martial Talk, and he did it before. It didn't work out too well. How you doing, Maria? And he had the ability, but he didn't have the network. So then he relaunched it. And I told him, "You build it, I will populate it," and it did. Then from there, we spun off a forum called FMATalk, which is Filipino Martial Art Talk. And from there, I ran that for over 10 years. And because of other social media platforms, it went away. We just put it down with the last year. And I've been wanting to do I did a bunch of interviews. I'm going to see if I can find my archives, some video ones, and never really did much with them. So this is the next evolution of FMATalk. Technology's changed. Everyone's podcasting now. It's so easy. And I'm not doing it because everyone else is doing it. I'm doing it because we've been wanting to do this for years and it worked out. So what FMATalk Martial Chronicles are going to be is a series of discussions on a specific system. Now, Ty and I both did Modern Arnis, so we're going to start with that. We'll transition into no particular order. We would look at Combatant, Balintawak, and then possibly go over with a few of my friends' systems, such as Dulce Pares, Bikini T-shirt, Bikini Tertia, so on and so forth. And the thing here is that I'm coming from a different point of view. I want to do a series, not a one-off. And I'm interviewing from an educated point of view, having experience in the systems that we're going to talk about and asking some questions that may not be asked by the normal person. And there we go. So let's say hello to a few more of our friends tonight. So Jeremy, hey, good as always from up north in Canada. Terrell, as usual, coming up from Maryland. Scott Spencer, good to see you. The Bluegrass State. What's the Bluegrass State? Is that Kentucky?
I think so.
I think that is. And then Larry from Durango, Colorado, and Craig Mason from Sudbury, Ontario, which also Jeremy's coming from, and Master Parsons from Flint, Michigan, which is an hour north of Detroit. All right. So today's topic is going to be interesting. I want to talk about a couple things. So what is today's topic? So I'm going to pull up I'm going to do some sharing here. I love to share. So we're gonna open up another screen in here, and I am going to pull up some things here, and this is it. Boom. So, and we're going to open this up a little larger. Hopefully this will. I don't know why it's not. Oh, I lost the tie. Can't do that. I need the tie. Tie. That's an inside joke. I'm going to get rid of the branding here. I don't know why this is doing what it's doing. Maybe there's a preference I'm missing. This is the problem. I got a brand new computer. So if anyone knows how to use it, let me in. So today's topic are going to be Modern Arnis Organizations. Now, there's a couple things we're going to talk about. But the most important thing, I want to make sure that one of the things that we're going to talk about is the fact that these are current organizations that have been around, that were active the year prior to COVID. I'm not going to talk about, I'm more than happy if someone wants to chime in and ask about something. But I really, we're going to talk about the current ones, not ones that have been maybe defunct, and going from there. So, just seeing where I have my. Okay, I'll just put that banner up here now. So, before we start, do you have anything you want to share with us, Ty, when it comes to this topic?
Not much. Let's see where it goes. We're also trying to stay on track in time today, right?
Yes, we are. My goal is to be done at 9:15 East Coast time, PM, not AM. Okay, so let's get into this. So, we're going to go through this. Now, first of all, we're doing this as it relates to, and I got it going. Remy Presas Modern Arnis. Now, what do I mean by that? So, Ty, maybe you should start with this one here.
What do we? Well, I don't know. When I think,
You got a new microphone?
What?
Is that a new mic and everything?
No, that's the one I had before. I just got it closer because you said it was
okay.
Needed to be closer.
Okay, all right.
But no, so I'll venture in there. So when I think of Modern Arnis, I think Remy Presas. To me, what he was doing is Modern Arnis, and that goes all the way to the end of his life, really. So that is Modern Arnis, and so that kind of frames probably where we'll go with a lot of this. But that's how I look at it.
Okay, so I'm going to be a little more abrupt on this because that's who I am. So the big joke was Ty's taking over Remy's position. What Remy and I used to joke is he was the good cop and I was the bad cop. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, Filipinos, P's and F's are backwards. So I would say, Remy, you're the good cop and I'm the bad cop. And he was, oh, you're right, Tim. You're the bad cop. I'm like, I'm good cop. Like, okay, sir, whatever. So, but the thing was that I was, I don't want to say I was the bad guy, but I'm the guy that doesn't sugarcoat it, because sometimes when you're being nice, the message gets a little skewed. So Ty is a little more nicer than I am. I'm a little more blunt publicly, where Ty is blunt on more of a private level there. But so the way I look at this is, and we've talked about this in other shows, so this series now is FMATalk. Datu's Corner is going to pre-record it for a while, and I still may do some live stuff, but I'm going to put my focus point on the Modern Arnis Chronicles here, as this is a public service that we're doing to document on a free platform all things Modern Arnis. Now, if anyone has a problem with what we're saying and you want to give us a different viewpoint, we are so open to having other people on the show. We would love to hear, because maybe you got a piece of information that I don't have or that Ty doesn't have. I saw Remy arguably probably more than any of the other Americans did, and I learned something new all the time, which makes me wonder how much I missed. And of course my phone is going to ring right in the middle of this.
It's a question already.
Yeah, okay. They already want it. It's like, oh, get me on the show. Come on, I want to be on the show. So going in the vein of, oops, and I dropped my phone because I'm trying to put the silence on. Going in the vein of Remy Presas Modern Arnis, my viewpoint of Modern Arnis is what Remy was doing up until the time of his death. So look at this like an operating system. Windows XP and Vista are not Windows 10 and 11. There may be some similarities, but it's not the same. If you got a computer program degree in the 80s, what is the value of that today? Now, that might be a little harsh. So we'll relate to cars because maybe this works out. There's nothing wrong with a 65 Mustang, but it's not the same as a 2021. Remy was always the current model Mustang. He left the Philippines in 75. By doing such, the Filipinos didn't have access to him. They missed 26 years of evolution. And there's a fair amount of people that don't acknowledge the Modern Arnis out of the Philippines as current. And I think that's probably the fairest way to say it. Now, if you want to look from Modern Arnis from another era, the 70s, the person I would go see is Rodel the Guck in the Philippines. I think he does the best job of it, and we're going to talk about him as we go on. But he didn't do the current art because he missed the connection to small circle jiu-jitsu, the Sinwali boxing, the left on right tappy, and all these other innovations. I mean, just another one, the forms. And I don't want to – I hate judging the art by the forms because we're such a hands-on. But, like, Remy had 8 open hand forms. The Filipinos never even knew about them because they were released over here. And that was one of many things. And that was done in the early 80s, maybe the late 70s. So what other developments did they miss out on? So there's a difference between maybe being a derivative or a dated version, and it doesn't change the value. But this my intent on this show is if you wanted to do Modern Arnis the way Remy was doing it up until the time he passed, we're going to give you advice from that viewpoint. How does that sound, Ty?
That sounds pretty fair. I mean, it kind of meshes what I said, but yeah, you covered a lot of areas.
Okay, all right. And like I said, I'm the bad cop. So let's go into. I have my radio voice on now, so let's go into the first step. And please, we had a lot of people chime in. We have 17 people watching at the moment, so allegedly, give us some more feedback, hollers, and shout outs. Let us know where you're watching from, and we love talking to people. So we're going to start off with a neutral alliance, per se. Not the evil empire. That's me. So this one is a whole, and Ty didn't see this. I don't think you saw this slide when I was preparing it. This is a modified version of things. So we're going to talk about, it's going to lead into the next one. So we want to talk about the Philippines. The 2 primary ones we want to talk about are the IMF Philippines and the World Family of Modern Arnis. And oh my goodness, look who said hello, Mr. Lyman Pryor. How you doing, brother? And
he's everywhere.
He's everywhere. He's up in Maine. And then Stuart's up in Canada. Stewie's doing a great job up there, up in I'm stupid. I can't think of this. Where Carl lives. Where does Carl live? Cambridge, Ontario. And Brad, who I was just talking to last night from Crescent City, California. We were talking about rattan, and I hooked him up with Miguel Ruby with the Fricamagong from FMASupplies.net. Cambridge is what Stewie said. Flint, Michigan is in the house. 2 members. Look at that. And, of course, yeah, we know it's Cambridge. And then all the way from Maine. Okay, there's 2 from Maine. All right, John, nice to have you on board. Okay, so out of the Philippines, the 2 main, this is like one group. So it's just that this is kind of a hard one. It's kind of all interwoven, and the middle stuff is not all from the Philippines. So this may throw things off. The rest of the slides will look really cool. So the left is the IMF Philippines. That was formed in '99. And people who are on the board, who are still with us, are Bambit Dulai and Renee Tungson. And hello, Don from Albany. Another good place. So, and those 2 gentlemen are on so many FMA boards where one is the president, the other is the VP, or one's a VP and the other's the president, or someone's a secretary. And there's kind of a whole bunch of things. So I want to talk, IMF Philippines was the Philippines branch of Modern Arnis. The World Family is like a neutral alliance. And a lot of times you'll see the IMF Philippines, you'll also see the seal of the World Family of Modern Arnis.
Yeah. I was going to say, it occurred to me that one of the things about the Worldwide Family is that's sort of the ecumenical, hands across the aisle association, right?
Right.
Whereas the other one is a more organized organization, if you will. Separate purposes, a lot of the same people.
Now, if we look in the middle, we're going to go with the WWF. Don't tell the World Wildlife Federation; they'll freak out.
Sure.
But if we do the World Family, which used to be the World Brotherhood, and I think they probably got a little heat because they didn't intend to be gender selective, because you do things because you're used to it, and then all of a sudden, you know what? It's probably best that we change it. And there's evolution. Boom. Which is great because they saw a mistake and they fixed it. Boom. That tells you about intent. So in the world family of Modern Arnis, we have probably 6 entities. You have Maddie Tappy Tappy, which International, which is Bambit Dulai. You have Abanico Tres Puntas, which is Renee Tungsten. You got Common Self-Defense with Bram Frank. You have the DAV, the Deutschland Arnis Organization with Dieter Knutel. You have MA80, which is Dan Anderson, and TAWA, which is Brian Zawolinsky. So that's part of the world family. And like I said, usually the reason why I put this together is with the world family, you get the IMF Philippines. And instead of just doing a slide on everything, I just threw a bunch into one slide to keep things easier. The problem that we had in the States is when the IMF Philippines, it was the Philippines branch of the International Modern Arnis Federation. So the IMAF was the governing body. That was the part that I was the Can-Am director up until 2000. And what happened is the IMAF Philippines, after Remy's death, started opening up chapters in the States, which caused a lot of grief because the IMAF Philippines was supposed to be the Philippines chapter, just like if it was IMAF Portugal, it would be the Portugal chapter, and you don't open up another chapter in another region or country. And that became an issue, especially when I met with Renee Tungsten. It was like 2008. We were in Red Bank, New Jersey, first time we physically met. And he was teaching at the Acosta Brothers, and it was a 4th of July weekend. So I went out. Janice and I were out and about, and we went to Red Bank, New Jersey. And she had a great time shopping because there were some cool things. And whatchamacallit from Silent Bob, what's his name? Brock, but the guy who played Silent Bob,
Kevin Smith.
Smith. He's got a comic book store there, and that's where the comic book men are based. So it's all in that same town, which is pretty cool. But this is before we knew any of that. So we went, we did breakfast, and we talked about a whole bunch of things. And the Acosta was like, well, I thought this was really cool, Modernist. And then we found out that it was all Combatant because these guys came from Combatant, which even though Combatant is a derivative of Modern Arnis, it's not the same. And once again, when we would go and people would meet the IMF Philippines people, the U.S. chapters of it, and we grew up with Remy and saying, "Well, show me this, show me that, show me the other thing," and they had no clue what you're talking about. It's like, well, how do you call it Modern Arnis when you don't do the art? It's Combatant. So,
well, and to be fair, they had plenty of things that they did that we didn't do, and so it was pretty obvious there was a delta.
Right. I mean, it's just like, hey, it's apples to apples, not apples to oranges. So, and this goes back to what we said, usually, like I said, we'll talk about at the end, the Modernists from the Philippines. Well, I mean, I'll address it right now. Personally, I think the Modernists in the Philippines, if they wanted to do Remy's system the way he did it, what should have happened is after Remy passed, they should have reached out to a bunch of the Americans to come over and teach them the material that they missed out on, because they definitely had material that we didn't have from earlier eras. I love watching Riddell, and it's a nice throwback to just see some things, but it's not the same. It's different. And some of these guys, they didn't come up with the Remy mindset. They came up from Ernesto, so they're missing lots of things. But the good thing is they were promoting Modern Arnis by name and the memory of Remy. I mean, people may not realize that Ernesto and Roberto were teaching Modern Arnis with Remy until there was a time to merit changing the name of what they were doing, because their physical expression didn't merit the name they were using. So like Ernesto he learned from his big brother, but that Combatant was a derivative of Modern Arnis, because there's a lot of double stick things that Ernesto does that Remy never did. Remy could play with double sticks, but Ernesto was a specialist. just like Roberto was a specialist with Stick and Dagger. So eventually their arts grew different enough where it merited to be rebranded. Any feedback, thoughts, and stuff like that?
Not for me. I'm hoping that they'll chime in. We had a lot of good participation last week.
Yeah. Well, up to 22 viewers.
Excellent.
So if anyone has a question, now's the time to ask. All right. So we're going to go on the next thing. So we have some people who don't run Modern Arnis Organizations, but they're part of the world family, and we feel that we should include them in the discussion. So, because we want to be inclusive, not exclusive. So, worldwide family martial arts notables, Mr. Tye, could you take it from here?
Sure. Well, actually, I can see, but yeah. So we've got Bram Frank with Common Sense Self-Defense. We've got Brian Zwolinski with Tawa. Dan Anderson, Super Dan with MA80. And one of the things that you say right up the top there, right? These are notables that are active in modernist promotion community and activities, but each of those things under their name are not styles. In fact, some of them will tell you that they don't have an organization. They're just concentrating on their style or their expression. So that's a quick intro, I think.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would call they could a couple of these guys. I would say that this is more their personal branding, more than anything else. I mean, if you've listened to the FMA discussion, which Dean Franco does, which is a great job. They talk specifically about, they talked during Brian's interview. They asked, "Hey, Brian, what's the name of your organization?" He's like, "Oh God, no, I don't run an organization." But he has taught seminars here and there. He hosts seminars once in a while, and we want to throw that out there. Now, I don't get the Tawa, to be honest with you. It's his homage to Remy. It's the art within your art, but to me it just looks like a Modern Arnis from a different era. The same with MA80. Bram does a lot with a blade. I think it's Modern Arnis influence because listen to his interviews. He's obviously done a bunch of different martial arts, and it's his synthesis, which we're going to talk about somebody else as well. But these gentlemen don't run Modern Arnis Organizations per se. I mean, Dan he's just one school. He writes books, does videos, has his school up in Gresham, Oregon. Brian does an occasional seminar. He is in Connecticut, teaches out of his home, and Bram's all over the place. So I really can't. So one moment he's in the Philippines, the next he's in Florida or something. So I don't know where he is at the moment. I think you have more communication with him than I do.
I've seen him posting recently. I don't think he's in the Philippines right now. I haven't talked to him for a while, but yeah, he does a number of seminars a year, and I would say, but going back to Brian too, right? He's got the camp he hosts yearly, or he puts together yearly. I haven't talked to Dan too much recently, but I know that, like he just came out with a book. Yeah, so, yeah, they're all active in their own ways for sure.
Yeah. So Alex just chimed in. The setup's looking great. Glad you liked it. And then Jeremy, what's here? There is 2 Brian Z interviews. And FMA discussion, if I remember correctly, there might be a third because I think he teamed up on a couple.
I think that's
and
right.
Then what do we got here? Brian also does 2 camps a year. Okay, yeah. So he hosts his thing going on there. And then what do we got going on here? Yep. Hey Nathan, good to see you on board. So hopefully, if you guys, this won't be a marathon session. So if you miss it, it won't be a chore to watch the rebroadcast. Okay, so these are pretty much the only independents that we're going over. The rest actually have organizations. So that'll be in the vein of what we're talking about. So let's get into the next person, Bambit Tulai. Okay, so he runs Matty, which is Modern Arnis Tappy Tappy International. And we have him as a Modern Arnis derivative. Now, what is a Modern Arnis derivative? Ty?
So I would say that, at some point in the evolution of modern Arnis, that's where your core started from, right? So whether you added things or evolved or developed, or maybe you froze it back in time, I think any of those would fit maybe a derivative point of view, as opposed to keeping up with Remy until the very end. That's just my thought.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, he didn't join up with Remy until 1999. So now, so people understand, and hello, Mr. Owens. It's good to have you on board. And he says hello to Rich.
There you go.
And then Jeremy goes, yeah, there's a team up with Chad Bailey. Yep. And I think he also did one with Dan Anderson and so on and so forth. So when Remy left the Philippines, he left as a political refugee. Basically, if he stayed, he was going to die. So he left.
Yep.
But he didn't go back, and he was fearful for a long time because, he left because of Marcos. And there's actually some Filipinos in the States that didn't like him at first because they thought he was still with Marcos.
Right.
So he was always on guard and, at the beginning, and things lightened up, but he didn't go back to the Philippines until 99. And unlike today, there was not the internet. I mean, the internet really didn't bust out until after 2000. I think the time that Remy passed away, 30% of households in the States had computers, and we were using dial-up. Now, I remember probably the last 10 years, most of the people in the Philippines were in internet cafes. I remember internet cafes were huge when I first started going in, was it 2007 or 2009? Not sure. Whenever I first started going. I'd have to look at that, So it's not like they had a lot of I don't know. I mean, it was dial up back then, and people would call each other and stuff. So, Bambit was a Ernesto Presas person. That's how he came up. And if you watch his martial expression and you know anything about the brothers, it's very obvious. Mm-hmm. So we look at what 2007, Craig just mentioned, was my first trip. Yes. And Rich says hello to Jeff. I don't know what you guys get to see if I don't hit on this. And then Mr. Mason said 2007. I'm glad Craig can keep me on point. These were the people it was him and Renee Tungsten, another longtime student. Like when I first met Renee was saying, for 30 years, I was the tail, Ernesto was the dog and I was his tail. Wherever Ernesto was, I was there. So, I mean, they're old time combatant people. No question about that, which is a modern Arnis derivative. No question. When I started doing combatant in 98, there was a lot of stuff that was in common.
And they were both at that camp too, right? The first one you went to?
No, neither one. They were okay. No. I met. I'm not sure when Bambit left. Bambit and Ernesto had separated.
Okay.
I tell you what. I'm pretty sure that they were all separated by 2000 because they were working with Remy. They were going to work with Remy.
Okay.
So when Remy went in 99, I was supposed to go with him for 2 months. And that was to set up a Philippines camp. So this is when he first, when he started working with all these, or started interacting with these guys. But I mean, it was also a vacation. So I don't think the professor was doing 12-hour training events with all these guys,
right.
And there was decades of material that they would have had to make up on. So, when I look at Bambit, who I think is a world-class martial artist, I see combatant with spice, an influence of modern, mm-hmm. which is why I put him in the category of a derivative. Thoughts on that?
I think that's fair. I mean, I don't think anybody should take what we're saying here as pejorative, right? like you said, you see him in his quality and his goodness and his students and all that good stuff. But what we see is the difference. And I think it is pretty obvious. I mean, if you know anything about both Kombatan and Modern, there's some really telltale signs, and not bad or good. It just is different, right? Sometimes things just are.
Well, I'll give you an easy one. So this will throw it out easy for anybody. If you see someone break out into a front, if they say they do Filipino martial arts, and they're serious about it, and they break out and they're Presas family, we'll precurse this. They say they're trading in the Presas family systems, and they break out into a front stance to do a Sinwali, then you're doing Kombatan.
Pretty much.
There's a lot of karate overtones in Kombatan. Not saying it's a bad thing, because Ty and I are one of our favorite European Kombatan person is the same person, Torbing.
Mm-hmm.
Torbing from Denmark is awesome.
Both as a martial artist and as a person.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're talking about as a martial artist. Oh, he's crap.
There you go.
I love you, Torbing. No, Torbing is a phenomenal martial artist, and can move all over the place. But you see that Kombatan DNA in what he's doing, which is not a bad thing. It's a different martial DNA than Modern Arnis. So, all right. So I think, are we any other things we want to talk about, Maddie?
No. He walked us through a lot of stuff when we were there last time, and took time to show us his expression and everything, and I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the attention, I enjoyed the interaction, so it's all good.
Listen, I enjoy anytime I get to hang out with all the Filipinos, and Master Bambit has been more than welcoming. I remember the first time everyone told me, Tim, you can't go to the Philippines because you are a puti, that's white, with a Datu title, and they're going to kill you. There was a bunch of people, morons, trying to scare me from going. And it was my second trip, and Craig was with me, and a whole bunch of people. We had a whole bunch of people from Sweden, and all of a sudden they're Datu Tim in the middle of the street, and I'm turning, I'm going, this is it. This is the showdown. This is the slow mo. I did that slow motion turnaround. I heard the music going on in the background, and here comes this Filipino, and he comes up and gives us a hug. I'm like, okay, this is what I was warned about. They would be friendly and give me a hug.
There you go.
So let's go on to our next topic. Another Modern Arnis derivative, probably my favorite guy in the Philippines, in doing Presas family systems that's still with us. Grandmaster Grandmaster Rodel de Guck of the DAS system, which is the Guck Arnis system. So, Ty, lead us off on this one.
So, gosh, when did I've seen him actually online for a number of years before. I met him when I went to the Philippines the first time with our group. Super nice guy. I enjoyed what I saw. Like you said, the expression he had, you could see the connection right away, right? Even though there's some differences, and they're not bad differences, they were neat. In fact, I could see the Rodelisms, I'll call them, and I like those. But I appreciated that it's like, wow, I can see exactly where it started from, how he got there, and how it all works for him. I really enjoyed seeing that. It was like a piece of history.
And he had a similar personality to Remy.
Yep.
He just is so very funny and very entertaining, and he's a consummate showman.
Yep.
Energizer Bunny Rabbit.
Yep.
But and listen, why is it called Smoking Sticks? Because he used to do the Sinwali so hard that his sticks would smoke. So let's talk about it. Well, how is this not a Modern Arnis system? It's a derivative because, once again, now, in my opinion, if you want to see Modern Arnis from the 70s, that era, this is the guy that's alive today that can show it to you. But like I said, 26 years of evolution is missing. But world-class martial artist, you get an opportunity to meet him, get on the mats with him. You go to the Philippines. Listen, if you don't know how to get a hold of him, get a hold of Ty or myself. We'll get you a hold up with him. But he's on Facebook. He's got a website. Phenomenal martial artist, but it is definitely modern Arnis from a different era, and he's put his own spin on things, and his spins are very cool, very, very quality material.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's when we're talking when Datu says 26 years of evolution, I would caveat that saying that's 26 years of Remy's evolution and development as he perfected and developed his art throughout his life. Not to say that GM Rodell was stagnant, because he wasn't. You can see his evolution there. So that's you have 26 years or plus years of Rodell's expression and evolution, and you can see where it went.
Here we go. Wait for it. Well, I'm gonna talk about.
And he's a hip brother of mine. We're hip brothers.
Yep, I had a hip done. So and here we go. And be prepared to sweat. Yep, that's a serious class.
Definitely.
We make sure we hit at least. Usually, it's the last thing we do is we visit Rodell, and because we want to challenge ourselves. And the last time I went, I got groin because we did sparring afterwards, and there's no cups, and the padded sticks had a rattan core, and by the time I got my hands on the sticks, the padding was worn off. Yay!
Yeah, and if you can get to Arnis Village with train with him there, I think he's still doing that.
Yes, last time I checked. Yeah,
an experience as well. We visited him there. Didn't train, but we also visited his factory and things like that.
Yeah, so he's in Batangas.
Yeah,
he's in Batangas, and he oh my God, he commutes 6 hours round trip every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Every Sunday to see his students in Manila. Mm-hmm. He doesn't make a lot of money doing that. That talks about commitment. Please pray for Master Medina. Did something happen that I don't know of?
I am not aware. Hopefully he'll post.
If it's who I thought it was, please elaborate, Nick. I thought Master Medina had to retire because he has like 20% blockage or something like that. He posted something. If it's the same one, I'm assuming it's the same one. But yes, definitely. Everyone, keep. Well, here we go. We got doing Scott. Scott, what do you got for me, Scott? Good evening, Datu. Just started training. I'm loving every minute of it. Great. Oh, is that my Scott? Is that my Scott from the class? I think that is. And where were you Saturday?
There you go.
Okay, so let's go on because so much for the 45-minute show. It's probably going to be an hour, but let's see what we can do here. Next one. All right, Modern Arnis influenced Kelly Ward. I'm going to start with this one because I don't think that there's anything controversial about this. But let me go back here because I got something. Do you see these comments on the side, or can you not?
I can't. No, I just see the screen.
Okay, all right. So I have to bring this up. Okay, I would say GM Rodell has followed what Remy did, and PG Ty, you are right because he evolved just like Remy, his DOS system extension of Modern Arnis. Exactly. I mean, and actually, all the Filipinos have done that. So I mean, and some of the evolution, like I think Rodell's evolution is still parallel to what Remy would have done. Some evolution's gone in a completely different direction, I think, though. So let's see what else we got here. And yeah, wedding. All right, no problem.
This time.
There's an excuse. So Kelly Warden, the second Datu, the first American. He does Natural Spirit internationally as Renegade JKD. He is Modern Arnis influence. So if you're looking to do Modern Arnis by itself, he is not the person to go to. He has he's a lot like Danny Inosanto. Now listen to this. He's a lot like Inosanto. Inosanto's Jeet Kune Do is a synthesis of martial arts, and Filipino martial arts are part of that. Okay, along with Silat and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and all this other stuff. Well, Kelly Warden does the same thing, and martial art is part of that synthesis. And he does a phenomenal job at integrating Remy Presas Modern Arnis into that synthesis. But because this is about Modern Arnis Organizations. He's not promoting Modern Arnis by name. He is putting it in the system. I think he does a phenomenal job of perpetuating the martial combatives of Presas family systems, but he's also promoting other systems along with that. Tye.
Don't have a whole lot to say. I mean, I haven't met the man. I've participated in a couple online seminars with him, and I agree. Definitely does a phenomenal job. A lot. He always pays homage and respects to Remy when he's teaching. But yeah, it's obviously he's synthesized and created something that's uniquely his and very, it's impressive in its own right. He should get all the credit in the world for that.
World-class martial artist, mad skills. But if you were looking to specialize in Remy Presas Modern Arnis, there may be better choices to go out there.
Still hope I'll meet him someday.
And guys, if you ever have the opportunity, everybody on this list is probably a good person, are good people to go visit.
Yep.
Okay, so let's move on. All right. Modern Arnis DAV. I took Kelly, so this was the 5th Datu. I was the last, so I'm going to say they saved the best for last. But DAV, Modern Arnis derivative, take it away, Tye.
Well, I don't know where I want to start with this. I'll just share one thing. So I consider GM Dieter a friend of mine. I've met him in the mid 90s in Texas, of all places. Didn't know him from Adam. I had, just got up to speed on a lot of Toppy with Remy. And here's this gentleman from Germany. And so we go off to the side and we play a little bit and we just have a blast. It was a lot of fun. We both weren't used to each other. And it was obvious that, he loved it as much as the rest of us. He also moved different, and I didn't know why. But we'll get to that, I guess, eventually. But yeah, so one, nice guy. Two, he loves doing all of these things. But also, he came up under Ernesto until they split, and I'm not sure when that exactly happened. And then switched over to Remy and worked really hard catching up. I think that's the easiest way to do the quick and dirty catch up.
Okay, and Rich has to tap out. He's going to help out his nephew with a vehicle problem. But hey, thanks for popping in here today, Rich. We really appreciate all the support. So you nailed it in a nutshell. He came up with a different DNA. I think he hopped on around 96 with Remy. And he had decades of doing the other side. Now, this is where we have to agree to disagree. He was studying Modern Arnis through a lot of the Filipinos teaching Modern Arnis. But as we started off saying, Modern Arnis was a living, breathing thing evolving as Remy evolved. And when Remy left the Philippines, the art kind of left with him. And when I talk about Modern Arnis, I know people talk about eras, but I mean, to me, what Modern Arnis was what he did up until the time he passed away. And the source material, a lot of the people in the Philippines were still working with Ernesto. And at that time also, Ernesto called it Modern Arnis, even though he was teaching his combatant curriculum.
Or the Arjuken too. I'm not sure where Arjuken fits into.
Yeah. So there's no, listen, once again, another world-class martial artist. But like Bambatulai has that combatant stance work during Sinwali's. The DAV would bring people in from different organizations to bring in different aspects that they wanted to add to their system. I mean, I was talking to Sonny Graff about that at the one camp and talking about, when I was going to go for the first time. And she's like, well, what we do is Remy probably hadn't had me teach the forms. Oh, we don't do forms. We just do this, that, and the other thing. And, what we like to do is look at a system and take the best pieces of it and add it to our curriculum. So I look at DAV Arnis as being its own entity. I think it's German Arnis. And, for years I thought that Dieter should be the Grand Master of German Arnis. is he's done a good job of trying to catch up a lot with modern stuff, but there's just something missing there. But that's just,
So it's not only, I was going to say, not only to bring in other things, they also have codified and deconstructed things their own ways and come up with some of their own innovations. At least what I saw, a couple years ago when I joined them at the big week-long camp, and I enjoyed the heck out of it. And I, to be honest, I like the way they think, right? So that's good, but it definitely they've got some of their own innovations, and again, they should get credit for that, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at Ernesto Presas and Cometan.
Yep.
He went a different path, and eventually, calling his expression "Modern Arnis" didn't do it justice. I mean, because he was doing double stick. Why should Remy get credit for his brother's innovations? Just like we'll go back to Balintawak. Who created the groupings? That was Viljason, not Anshan. So why wouldn't give Anshan the credit for something he didn't do? Another topic that'll be the Balintawak series of FMATalk Chronicles, Martial Chronicles. I think we're good with Dieter. What do you think?
I think so. I mean, once again, I'd call out to the people if they have any questions or comments or suggestions. It would be good to fold those in because we're just riffing right now, and so that gets, we can probe the edges, but we don't know what the edges are until you ask.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go, and if anyone has a question on anyone that we've already talked about, by all means, chime in. So let's go to the next group. Here we go. Modern Arnis exclusives. So I've got 3 groups for that. So, Modern Arnis exclusive. People who are doing Modern Arnis as per the way Remy Presas was doing it, more or less. We're all going to have our own take on things. So the IMAF, which I really don't know how active it is at this time. And don't worry, Terrell. We will definitely let you know about the Balintawak ones. I know prior to COVID, they were declining. And I know they do seminars, but I don't know what they're doing organizationally speaking. Brian Zolinsky left them a few years back. And I know a lot of these. There's a DK, and this might be running the line because they all have a DKI background in here, or DKI involvement. The Democratic International. Kenny and Chuck are both grandmasters in DKI. I don't know what Gabrielle's status is. So Kenny Smith on the left, centers Gabrielle Roloff. Okay, Kenny's in Illinois. Gabrielle is in Hamburg, Germany, and Chuck Goss is in Metro Detroit. So the IMAF was the original organization. When things went sideways, I retired. I resigned from the group. They stayed part of the group, and they continued to run it. I don't know what's left. I do know it's not what it used to be. That's about all I got to say. I mean, there's bad blood, so I'm not gonna say much.
I'll just throw out there. I think they still do 1 or 2 camps a year. I'm not sure exactly because there was some kerfuffle the last year or two. Not problems, just difficulties, right? And COVID affected all of us. And then there's some. I know I've seen Ken Smith doing some seminars here and there popping up on my thread, but I haven't kept in touch, unfortunately, during COVID. I used to go to some of their events as well because me, I'm traveling all over the place because I want to see all of the pieces so I can greedily suck up every little bit of Remy vision that I can. But that's all I got to add. Yeah.
Okay. So they teach the art the best they can in the vein of what Remy was doing.
Up till the end, even.
Up to the end, yeah.
Yep.
So Gabrielle started in 88. Chuck, if I'm not mistaken, 91. and Kenny was 92 is when they started doing Modern Arnis.
Yep.
Just so we know what era we're talking about. So
yeah, about the same time as me, except for Gabby, who was before.
Yeah. And here's a good friend of yours. So I am going to give this one to you because you've taught at his events. I like Bruce. I like Bruce a lot, but you've had more interaction with him as of late. So I'm going to leave this to you.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. So Bruce Chu, I actually don't know when he started. I want to say maybe the late 80s, but that's a total wag. I'm not exactly sure. I know he started before me. We'd known each other for years, but yeah, he has kind of a I guess it's an organization, right? Because it's spread out across several states. It's just not really codified in the ways that sometimes you would think other organizations. But he's the head of it, Arnis International, and they teach Modernist as Bruce learned it from Remy. And there's really, that covers everything, right? He does the old stuff. He does the evolution of Tapi Tapi that he was part of. Yeah, I really enjoy his events. As you said, we're friends. We actually lived in the same area in Virginia until he moved down to Florida. Darn you, Bruce. But I got to, we got to be friends and teach at the same times. And then I kept that up during some of his camps and seminars. And I think there's a good cross-pollination there. But yes, definitely I would say Modernist exclusive. It says Modern Arnis all the time. And he's always talking about Remy. And there's no... they're not bringing in other arts, right? So it's just what we say.
How? So I'm gonna. I wish Modern Arnis was part of the name,
right?
Because we talked about this as one of the other episodes, and it's about the brand. It's the. The more people using the term Modern Arnis, the more it stays on people's minds. I think that's. Say what you will about Pikiti Tertia with all the different groups splintering, but they all kept Pikiti Tertia, and that just increases the brand. I mean, for those who have a Korean background, we know there's umpteenth amount of Taekwondo associations out there, but they're all united in the name of Taekwondo.
Even if they do different forms.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Whether ITF, WTF, there's so many different TFs out there.
Or A's, yeah. No, but you're right. I mean, I think, and maybe it's sort of a thing, right? We've already talked about the word modern in the name, right? It doesn't really fly too well with Westerners, right? Because it doesn't mean a whole lot. So I think there's a tendency that people may not clomb onto that. I can tell you right now, one of the videos I had Modern Arnis, and they're like, well, what do you mean you modernized Arnis? I'm like, no, that's the name of the style that my teacher created.
And let me ask you this. Where was that person based?
They were Philippines based, I believe.
It's a shame that the people in their own country don't understand that one of the biggest arts in the world at one time was named Modern Arnis by a person who helped revolutionize Filipino martial arts.
And helped make it the national art, yeah.
So here we go. According to Lyman, which actually I knew part of this, Chuck has closed his school, which I already know. Still hanging with Ken, involved with Small Circle Jiu-Jitsu. Ken is their MA director. So I'm assuming he's the Modern Arnis director. But, listen, right now, I mean, who knows what's I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking prior to this, because who knows who will survive COVID. COVID sucks. 40% of all schools in the States close their doors permanently. So who knows? Now, I do know Chuck's school closed down prior to COVID. COVID was not the thing that was that had nothing to do with that. I don't know about Ken. I thought he had 2 schools. I'm not sure. I tried getting a hold of him, but the phones were disconnected all of a sudden. So I don't know. I got to look up. I found other phone numbers, so I got to
change locations, but I haven't gotten that information.
Yeah, so I do have a new number. I'm going to probably try to reach out to him.
That'd be good.
This week or maybe next. How international? Okay, so Arnis International. So what are we talking here? Just so we're all on the same page here.
I can only tell you what I experienced. All I know is that there was at the camps and seminars that I've played with that group and Bruce. I only saw people from different states. but that doesn't mean that I was paying attention. I was just
Well,
there
wait
to
a
have
minute.
fun.
You do know that? I mean, didn't you visit someone in Ireland?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yes, duh. How can I forget John? Yes. Really good friend of Bruce's and his wife, and they teach classes in Ireland. Stayed with them and had a good time with them. They're very much into the FMA, even on top of the other arts. So they teach it as a separate art. So I like that. But you're right. So there's Ireland. That's so right. So at the events in the States, I didn't see international people, although I do know that John, Duggan, and Mandy come over or have in the past come to some of the States events. Plus, like I said, they do teach over there. Yes. Sorry, John.
Yep. Yeah, I wanted to throw that out there because I knew about that.
Yep.
But you would say this is more of a Southeast type organization with one affiliate over in Ireland that you know of.
It's at least that. I don't know of any more. So okay. I mean, I'm not going to. If I don't know stuff, I'm not going to say stuff.
Yeah. And I know that there's a connection with the Bradburys.
Yes, and they're in Kansas.
Yeah, and they're also members of our organization, and I think they're also members of Combaton too, and
good.
Blah 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 blah. What I got? Not something here. Ken is teaching his maths program. Did some training with his students from around the country. Okay. Good. All right. So, only one left.
Well, we could stop about here.
We could. We don't have to go any further. No one wants to talk about the last guy. He's an idiot. Freaking moron.
Look, if you can't laugh at yourself, then, there's probably something wrong.
All right. Here it is. The World Modern Arnis Alliance. So, here we go. I'm going to put up what Terrell is. Okay, so.
Yes.
Well, you read this one because my camera's in the way of half the screen here.
Yeah, so Terrell says, I think that the politics needs to go, and as long as the name Modern Arnis is being used and Remy is given the credit, I think it's a wonderful thing, and all Modern Arnis will not look the same due to different time periods. So we should support and uplift these groups because it helps us all in the name of Modern Arnis.
Well said.
Yep.
Okay, so.
Definitely.
World Modern Arnis Alliance. All right, so I actually had this on paper. I found a book I wrote in '98. So let's first talk about this. I am okay. This is where Ty is going to have to call BS on me. That's your job right now.
All right.
So while Remy was alive, I don't know anyone that committed to the art full-time. I started in full-time Modern Arnis school, and I'm talking nothing else. I know there's a lot of close, like you, chained both your systems as standalone programs. Mm-hmm. Everything I did was Modern Arnis. I competed. I developed teams. We go out. I've been, to my knowledge, in open tournaments, the only one that's done that for Modern Arnis. Now, I do know people have fought in week half under the banner of Modern Arnis and other things, but but this, I represented Modern Arnis as a full-time thing. I started in it. It wasn't the art within your art, which if you find pretty much everyone else started as the art within your art. They came from another system and tried to, like yourself, try to do it as a standalone program. But then again, you had a good coach, a good friend of mine, Eric Alexander, which has popped up back on the scene, and hopefully we'll have him for a long time. But we are the largest U.S.-based Modern Arnis organization. I don't know what's going to happen post-COVID. I don't know. Because we're all in that big question mark of what's going on there. But I'm bringing up the site right now so I can look at it, so I know what I'm talking about. We are primarily in the U.S. and Canada, but we are growing huge because of Craig Mason and his team is doing a phenomenal job up north. More schools are joining up. But right now I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 active schools in the States, 6 in Canada. And then we have groups in Europe. We just before COVID, we had a new club in Austria sign up. We've got a school in Australia. We've got 3 affiliates in Barbados, a bunch in, we're working with people in Sweden and Denmark and Poland and the UK. Is that right? Yeah. I got to look at this again. We have 2 affiliates in Venezuela. I have to admittedly, I have to go back through all these guys and make sure we're still on point with a bunch of them, because I don't know what happened with COVID. I did what everyone else did. I shut down and just worried about myself. We stayed in place, shelter in place, and and that was about it. There really wasn't much. But the thing here is I'm a full-time Modern Arnis person without having another system as a backup, which is why I looked at things and go, listen, when things go twisted, I need to protect myself, because I don't have another art to go back to. And that's why I put this down and got things going. And I'm glad to hear that you were competing, Chris, in 91. And Sarah, thanks for stopping in today. I'm glad you enjoyed the show. That's one of the reasons why I started the World Modernist Alliance, because, I didn't have a safety net. Everyone else could go back to karate, taekwondo, jiu-jitsu, fill in the blanks. This is all I had. And it was my backup plan. It wasn't my go-to plan. My go-to plan was to stay with the organization, and things went sideways, and it was best that I did my own thing, because no one could have filled in Remy's shoes. So I don't fault anyone for doing their own thing. But getting back to it, those would be all the active Modern Arnis organizations. There's a couple other out there that are no longer doing anything, so we didn't really get into them, because this is about active groups, where they fit, and stuff of that nature. So I'm going to stop sharing here. Boom. Any questions from anybody? Any thoughts from you, Ty? Did this get something going there, or?
So, you had a question for me, or calling BS. So one of the things, so let's see, I met you in 96, 97, something like that. But I wasn't aware of anybody doing it full time. I knew several schools or places were running it as standalone programs. So even my friend Raymond, right, he had students that were only doing Arnis. So that's how I knew that. Plus, of course, my school or clubs and a few others. But again, like you said, that's because we had a starting coach. That's how we looked at things. But as far as doing it as their only singular thing for a school, I don't know of anyone. And in fact, during the time at the 90s, I didn't know that you did that. But I knew that what we saw from you was different, and it's probably reflected your focus. And I'm not saying it different in a bad way. Certainly, it was a good way. I remember you and I and my student Abel, right? We had some good conversations around some of those issues. But no, I don't know of anyone who was doing it full time or sole issue on a school. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. Just that I don't know.
Okay.
Do you know of anybody who claims or kind of thinks of themselves that way? And I haven't heard anybody saying that even, right?
No, I'm looking at that private message.
Oh,
and I don't think they, based on the things that we talked about, and it doesn't fall into this category.
Gotcha. Yep.
Because it's not Remy Presas Modern Arnis.
Well, there's this. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the crook of the whole thing.
Yep.
So let me do this. Much better. Okay. Oh, here we go. We got a comment. Yay.
Okay.
Yay. Jeremy.
That guy.
That guy. You're creating a living history. That's good. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Wait a minute. First of all, awesome. Wait for us. Watch this, Ty. Watch.
Uh-huh.
Ready?
Okay.
Boom. Eric.
Oh my gosh.
Eric,
wow.
my man.
There we go.
Oh my God. Eric is awesome. Eric is freaking awesome. Eric is one of the best karate fighters I knew back in the day. Trained the art. Awesome. And the funny thing was I did the seminar for him. And then he went on out to Colorado and hung out with you guys and taught you stuff. And then Abel did that black belt testing. And I showed up and he showed the flyer that Eric came out and was my damn flyer.
Yep.
Because I got it from somebody else too. I got it from Bill Adams. I repurposed it and then Eric repurposed it. And then it came back. I was like, hilarious. Oh my God, Eric, you are awesome. Awesome. We're talking about you earlier. Talking about you earlier. I don't know if you heard it. It was all good stuff too, by the way. Yep. Well, maybe not what Ty said, but that's okay.
There you go.
Okay. So I want to talk about just two events real quick before we wrap things up. So this weekend is phase 3 of the Ponantucan seminar. So the series, and it's going to be oh my God, it's killing me. Is it doing that for you?
It's flashing strangely. I figure you're trying to give us epilepsy. Oh, there you go. It's all smoothed out. I would mention that. So one of the things that you mentioned, that there's some international people and even new ones coming on. I've seen them participating in some of these things. So in that sense, right, this COVID stuff is creating some connections.
Yes, it is. Okay, so this Saturday, July 17th, noon to 2 Eastern Savings Time, phase 3 of our Master Seminar Series with myself. And this is going to be Ponantucan. Now, you don't need the other phases to participate, but this is a hybrid event. So we have physical attendees along with virtual attendees as well. I've been working out really good. And then next Saturday, it's those guys. It's the World Modernist Alliance Invitational Camp in Maryland. It'll be PG Ty and PG Chad. Evidently, there's a camping option there as well. Is that true?
Yep. You have to get with Chad on that, but yes.
And there's going to be doing some gradings and stuff like this. This will be the first U.S. camp that I'm not part of, and this is a good thing. We were actually pushing to have more events. Craig is going to be doing the next Canadian camp. I did the first Canadian camp in Sudbury, and then now he's going to do the next one. I'm going to be going up every other year. I'll probably come down to Maryland sooner or later for that camp. Good. But the thing here is we're trying to cover as much ground as possible. And how do you do that? You deploy troops. I am so proud of the World Modernist Alliance members at this time. We currently have third-generation students teaching seminars. Mm-hmm. So PG Craig up in Sudbury is my student. He has 2 of his students going out and doing things. Jeremy, who's on today's show, chiming in, he is teaching at a kickboxing group. He's a supervisor of that. And then Craig's son, Evan, is teaching. He taught his own seminar recently, just prior to the COVID lockdown up there, which is like every other week. So, because they do it weird in Canada. Okay. And then in August, this August 27th through 29th is the 20th anniversary of Professor's passing, and we are hosting a memorial camp. I've had good updates. The fact of the matter is that the mask restrictions have been lifted for those who have been vaccinated. If you're not vaccinated, you need to wear a mask. Our occupancy levels have been lifted. So we're good to go on all levels. Good. So right now it's PG Chad Doolin, PG Tye Botting, Master Rich Parsons, Michael and May Williams, and myself. And that's the last weekend of August, which in the Saturday, the 28th, is the 20th anniversary of Professor's passing. So we decided that we were going to do this hell or high water. We didn't care about COVID. We were getting together to remember our teacher. We've got a lot more opportunities for people to come, but you know what? We understand there's a lot of complications with COVID. If you can't make it, just say a little prayer that weekend, and then we will be doing more things. Because next year is also the 65th anniversary of Modern Arnis. And we'll be doing a celebration with that as well, where the best of the best will be here for that camp. All right. Oh, that's a movie.
Eric Roberts.
Okay, Jeremy. Oh, what did Jeremy say here? We're back to pads and partners work on the 16th. Very good. So that is 4 days from now. All right. Well, it's not as long. It's not the 45-minute marker that I wanted to hit, but we are ahead of schedule compared to last week. What are we at here? Like an hour?
Hour and 10, 11.
Yeah. So next week we might be starting 5 minutes later because I have a new schedule in my club, or I might just be cutting it real quick. We'll see what happens. 9:30. Or 8:30, 8:35. We'll see what happens. I just gotta get some things together. So everybody, if you like it, tell people, please. Here's the normal push. Ready? Here we go. If you liked everything you saw today, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, hit the notifications, and share this video wherever you feel is appropriate. I think that pretty much said it all. We'll have information for the next episode, which is next week. We'll have information to contact Tye for training. He's down in the Fairfax, Virginia metro area. I'm in Buffalo, New York. You can catch us online as well. I got another one there. Is that... Yeah. There you go. That's a good thought. I got another one. New comment. Stuart, what do you got for me? It was good seeing both of you. It's been okay. There we go. Well, we're back. Next week's topic is. This is the Marshall Chronicles. FMATalk Marshall Chronicles. As long as PG Tye is available, we'll continue this show together.
Well, and relevant, right?
Yeah. Oh, you're relevant. So we're going to keep this going. I'm having fun with it. Next week is what is Presas Arnis? That's going to be the topic. That should be a lot shorter because it's only one topic. The week after that, tentatively, we're going to be doing ranks, certification, and titles of Modern Arnis. And if I get to do my homework by then, we're also going to, the one after that would be, and this is what Jeff Owens was waiting for, the Tappy Tappy episode. Uh-huh. What is Tappy Tappy? Listen, we would love to have guests on this show. Yeah. Okay, we are co-hosting. And because I'm at Mission Control, I have more control of this, but we want more people to be part of this. We're going to start, after we get some things going, we're going to talk about development in areas. So I'm going to be talking to some people. Hopefully, Mr. Owens, I'd like to have you on the show to help talk about the propagation of Modern Arnis in Michigan. I'd love to talk to some people from, I want to talk to Frank Schakowsky. I'd love to talk to Eric because he was in Connecticut when it all was going down. And he can talk about Colorado and then how he helped out in Texas as well. Oh, look at this. Wait for it. Boom. Jeff Owens. Okay. Very good. Everyone saw this. You said you'd love to. Okay. So you need to, all I got to do is send you an invitation, but you need to have a camera set up. We'll probably do that next month or August, depending on how many of these. Well, that would be next month. And, and Eric, if we'd love to have you on board for an episode, Eric, hint, nudge, push, because you can tell us about Connecticut. You can tell us about Colorado. And, we want to give credit for credit where credit's due, And Jeff says it sounds good. Okay. All right. So any closing comments you have for us, my friend?
No, I'm still blown away that Eric's on here.
I know,
I
that's
can't
great.
shut up about him, unfortunately. Sorry, Eric.
Eric is a brother from another mother, and oh my god. Oh,
I owe him, I owe him my interest and my start, and I think Remy accepted this goober kung fu guy because of what Eric did with us.
I tell you what, I did a lot of stuff, and I had to do it from the ground up. But if Eric hadn't moved to Colorado, I would have been tapping into his expertise on open hand fighting, and then say, here's how we do stick fighting, competitive stick fighting. What concepts do you think we could apply, and just really have some fun? And Eric was a phenomenal trainer. It's funny because when I taught at his house, his daughter comes out sleepwalking, sits in my lap, and okay, Dad, and we're all looking out. For the record, Eric is African American, and he had sort of like a really tight haircut, and I had a mullet, and I'm a little lighter skinned than he is. I'm not. I'm white. Okay, we'll call it what it is. So it was hilarious. It was phenomenal, and Eric was just all like, "Hey, that was cool." He didn't care. And Jeff says it was a great session. I'm glad you like it, and I'm looking forward to getting more people involved. Look at the two Datu Hartman YouTube channel and the Tim Hartman YouTube channel. This is on both of them. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and we'll have more contact information in the future. My friends, thanks for tuning in. Ty, what do you got?
Definitely going to say bye and thanks, but also don't forget to go to my channel on YouTube as well,
Which is
PG Tye Botting or Ty's KF, and I released 5 things last week.
Yeah, I've got my branding on this, but I'm going to put his up there. It's just that he's got a very pale top. And
not just my head.
Yeah. Well, if you wear a darker shirt, I can put it right next to your name down here.
Oh yeah.
And just make sure you don't wear that white shirt because I'm going to do white letters. That's why I didn't do it. Now you're wearing the red shirt. It's perfect. Yep. All right, everybody. As always, please stay safe, stay sane, and we're looking forward to seeing you in the future in person.